Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And joining us for his first time on the show in the studio, it's the famous Bullshit Paul.
Infamous Bullshit Paul, please.
Infamous, yeah. It's kind of amazing you've been such a part of our gaming group for so long and we haven't had you on the show yet.
Yeah. Zach's efforts to exclude me from the podcast have been denied, finally.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying that hard.
Well,
Zach just couldn't handle being flanked by heavy gamers on both sides.
No, it's
yeah, it's two to, I don't know what Jeff is described as, but 2-1 to Jeff.
Yeah. But before we get too much into these things, we need to take a second and thank our awesome sponsors, Gray Fox Games, for sponsoring our Wednesday episodes. We really appreciate them working with us, and they're pretty awesome. We've gotten to meet Alex a whole bunch at different conventions. Bunch of fun. So, Paul, it's your first time on the show.
Yes.
It's been a while since we've had a first-time person on the show.
It has been quite some time, but I feel like a lot of people kind of have a vague idea of where you are in the gaming spectrum.
They know you're full of bullshit.
Yes,
but
yes. I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
Is there anything else there? That's what they want to know.
No, it's 99% bullshit,
Okay.
I'd say.
And I think everybody probably has a pretty good idea that you only play two types of games, bullshit dexterity games and heavy games.
Yes, that's about right. We were saying my game collection is like a U shape on the heavy scale.
Sounds about right.
But I don't think I even know the answer to this. But I'm sure the listeners don't. How did you get into board gaming? Like, what was kind of your intro into playing board games?
Sure. I mean, like everyone, probably. I played a lot of board games as a kid, but all, bullshit. Jeff, you didn't really.
No.
Huh, okay. Well, we played a lot of, family nights and stuff with random Monopoly and a lot of Scrabble and word games, which I'm horrible at
Any
still.
game of life.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, life, definitely. But I'd say 4 years ago now, I got into like Catan, and that morphed into Ticket to Ride, which morphed into Agricola, actually, which was probably the first game that I really loved, which is how I discovered I really like heavy games. And then, Caverna, et cetera, and it really snowballed from there quite drastically. I moved to Denver about 3 years ago and found the board game night.
Mm-hmm.
Adrian and I actually met because I think he was carrying Le Havre or something. I don't remember.
Yeah, or you were. I can't remember.
Yeah, there was some mention of Le Havre, which I had played and he hadn't, and he had mentioned how he had really wanted to play it, and it took a few months, but we finally met up and played it, and that was, I guess, my inclusion into the friend group. So
That was the first time I remember you.
Yeah.
I don't know if I met you before that, but if I did,
Sure.
it completely bounced off.
I still
Understandable.
Yeah.
I still have your player sheets.
Oh, god damn it.
From that playthrough.
That's some bullshit.
Yeah.
So I think you're probably the most recent person to get into board gaming of our board gaming group. Only really getting into it in the last 4 years. But you also had the exact same introduction to a lot of games that also introduced me. It was basically the Catan, Ticket to Ride, Agricola.
Yeah, it's almost like those gateway games are actually bring people into the hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Lords of Waterdeep too. How could I forget that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's worth forgetting.
Oh, God. Oh.
To be fair, there is Champions of Midgard
Exactly, yes.
now.
It was a good game for a long time, though, for being an intro worker placement
Yeah.
with a dry pasted on theme.
Yeah.
100%.
It's still a good game, but it's been overcome for sure.
Yeah. Right on. Yeah, I don't remember what we had. 4 questions we used to always ask new guests, and it's been so long. It's been over a year since we had a new friend guest that I've forgotten what all we used to ask.
Yeah.
What's your favorite game?
I think that depends on player count and also on
How bullshit you feel at the time.
Yeah, that was not how I was going to put it, but yes.
That's how I put it.
Favorite dexterity game is quickly becoming Pirate Billiards or Piraten Billiard if you're looking it up on BGG. And then I think honestly, my favorite heavy game might still be Le Havre, but only at 2 and 3 players. I know you like it, Adrian.
I like it at all counts.
I know. 5 is unplayable. 4 I would never play except with very experienced players. I just think there's better worker placement games out there for 4, 5, 6, or better heavy games.
That's fair.
But yeah, I think I'd have to go with those 2.
Cool.
You played Founders of Gloomhaven with us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the one that always won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not
well, no,
3-0.
because I didn't play with you guys. I played with a different group.
Yeah.
And Paul never gave us his thoughts on Founders of Gloomhaven. So
I
I
emailed
mean,
you.
other than
did
the
you
email he sent
did you
us.
email? Oh, I was thinking Mike Jones was
It's
the only
almost
one that-
like
It's almost like you were reading his words.
I was.
and yet you weren't paying attention.
You know, I spent all that time on that like 3-sentence long email, Jeff,
Yeah.
that I forgot and almost forgot to send.
And Mike
I-
Jones was the BGG.
Yeah, that's who I was
Post,
thinking of
so.
that only sent stuff.
But you know, I did listen to the review last week,
Uh-huh.
and Zach, I actually completely agree with you. How you said as you were talking through it, you actually considered upping your rating. Maybe not that drastic, but you're like, I think I like this game more now after I talking about it. As I was listening to the review, I was like, shit, I think 6.5 might have been too harsh. Like, I actually want to play again.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's an interesting game for sure.
Yeah, it falls into a weird space.
It does. It definitely does. I do still agree with my previous statement that I think Concordia, especially for the money, I looked up the prices, obviously, because I sent those, and I was expecting Concordia to be like $100. So I was going to say, you know, it's a great...
Why were you expecting it to be $100?
It got a reprint. I didn't realize.
Oh, okay.
I think. I don't know.
Yeah, Concordia had gotten real expensive.
It's
for
not a
little while.
splatter game, so
Yeah. It has art.
Concordia has terrible art.
Yeah, it's real bad, especially
yes,
the box.
Yes, it is. Oh, that box
Concord-
is garbage.
Concordia is $47 right now, and
Ooh, it's gone up since I mentioned it.
Founders of Gloomhaven is $49 on
that-
cool stuff.
On cool stuff. Okay.
Okay. But anyway, so I think Jeff, I'm actually really excited to play Concordia with you.
Yes.
Because if you like Founders, I think you'll like Concordia. Anyway,
I
so
think I had said this before. The only time I've seen it is when Adrian was playing it in the back room of Strange, and I was just sort of hanging around watching you play
Yeah.
the last couple rounds.
I got fucking housed in that game.
critical errors, perhaps.
I'm not very good at remembering that a key part of Concordia is getting cards
Yeah,
because they're
yeah.
endgame scoring. Like, I just get too busy playing the game, and I'm like, oh, shit.
I have no points.
That might be my favorite part about Concordia is someone that has an awesome engine and they get to the game and they get last because they haven't got any cards.
Yeah. So, but let's move on, and let's talk about what we've all been playing. Paul, you're the guest. Let's start with you. What have you been playing?
Well, let me look here. So yesterday I played some Secret Hitler.
we should mention that you log everything.
Oh yeah.
I used
He's
to log
like our
things.
yeah. I don't even think Andrew logs anymore.
He does.
Oh,
he
still
does.
okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you were the only one I know who still like when all of a sudden everybody started logging at once. Like you're the only one that was continues to do that. So.
Yeah, for a while I didn't log. So for a while I didn't log everything. Like I didn't log social games like Secret Hitler. But I don't know. I log everything now. It doesn't take that long. The app has a great UI. Anyway, I won't get into that. So I played Secret Hitler yesterday at Alamo and Root twice. And
We've played that a lot.
Yeah, and Bamboleo.
How was your Secret Hitler game?
Yeah.
You were playing
Oh.
with a group
Yeah,
of like
you don't have
new-
to just tell us what you play. You can also talk
Oh,
about
you
the
want me to
experience.
actually talk about the
Yeah.
experiences? I thought you just said,
I'm
why
sorry.
don't
No,
you
it's
list them
not.
down?
It's not just a list.
I'm rapidly beginning to suspect that Paul doesn't actually listen to the show.
Oh yeah,
Like,
no, I don't listen to it anymore, no. Yeah, sorry. So this is my first podcast ever. Okay, so I'm not used to this. So Secret Hitler was great. We played with a lot of new people, which is always a fun game.
Well, it was at the Sunday Alamo Draft
Yeah.
House game day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of
Which,
new faces.
Still technically called the Meet the Brewer,
Yes.
even though there was no brewer to meet.
Yeah, Ant was not there because he was at his new job.
Yes.
And I was technically the only representative of Epic there. And I actually went to go see a movie instead. So,
Really great representation there,
Yeah.
guys.
yeah.
Anyway, so Secret Hitler is one of my favorite games. It's probably one of my favorite social, protection games or whatever.
Mhm.
I know all three of you hate it, I believe.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
Adrian hates it.
Adrian's hate just bleeds
Yes.
onto the other two
Yeah.
of you.
No.
Okay.
Jeff liked it the most out of all of the ones we reviewed.
Okay.
And then I like it. I just increasingly I'm just like even though I like the game, I'm like I don't feel like playing it. I don't.
Sure.
Yeah. So
I mean, playing with new players, I'm open to doing, but it's more frustrating. Like you can easily win or lose based on how well they play.
yeah, even if you are a fascist and you're great at it, if your
Yes.
other guys are
Yes.
like we're garbage at this.
Yes. So when
Yeah.
I was Hitler, actually, one of the fascists immediately outed himself, like in round 2 or whatever, and I just cast blame on him the whole time.
Yeah.
And then they elected me chancellor.
Of course they did. Like yeah, Paul knows what's going on. He's the good guy.
Yeah. Still favorite play of all time, which I bring up all the
Yeah.
time because it's probably one of my favorite gaming instances ever, is getting unanimously elected chancellor as Hitler. And then Bob and Wes, I think it was, immediately said, oh, God damn it. and left the table before I even realized I was Hitler.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then I played Root, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Right.
Do I need to talk about that now?
No.
No, we usually save the reviews
Yeah.
for the review.
And Bamboleo, which I played with all of you.
Yes.
Yes. With the scale. Well, and it
With
wasn't
the
Jeff
scale.
because we played it while we were waiting for Jeff to get to the house.
Of course.
So
we
it
But
was
did.
Jeff
just
has
the
played it
three-
later.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, we got to play with the scale finally, which I got to say does add a layer of like thought to the game that I
Yes.
think takes it up a notch.
Oh,
Oh
100%.
yeah, I love that game now.
Yeah.
It's a great game.
Well, because before it was just like, especially if you had a person who was bad at balancing something or unbalancing something, I guess.
We should explain what this is because I don't think we've talked
Yeah, I
about
don't
it.
think we have talked about
talked
Bamboleo.
about
Have
it.
we?
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
it's a big disc that you balance on a cork ball
Mhm.
full of random pieces.
Yeah, it looks like
Of
an
shapes.
abstract pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you take turns pulling pieces off, and if you're the one who makes it disbalance and tip everything over,
Mhm.
and then you get minus 40 points.
Well,
Well,
that's
so
because
the
you're
scale
way.
version.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the twist here is it's usually just you count up the number of pieces you have and you play to a certain amount.
Yeah,
Right?
and so with that,
Yeah.
the amount of like whatever the rotation, like more often than not, everybody gets the same except for like one or two people.
yeah, definitely.
But with the scale, like all the pieces weigh different amounts, and so you can like, oh, I can get this big one, which will weigh a lot, but it might topple it over. Do I want to play it safe and just get like the 7-gram one versus the 18-gram one?
Versus the 36-gram one.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. I thought it was funny. Like you guys had clearly played with the scale before because you were saying things like that, like, "Oh, I don't know, that one's surprisingly heavy." You wouldn't expect how heavy that is looking at it.
Yeah.
Or like Zach took one. He's like, "Ah, fuck, I forgot this was the light one because
Yeah.
it's got that bullshit hole in it."
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Zach and I may or may not know the weights of about half the pieces to the gram.
Yeah. This is Adrian. Oh, Adrian, you should have picked. That's only 7 grams, man. You should have gotten this one.
Yeah. Oh, that's the 7.4 gram
Yeah.
one.
Mhm.
Classic mistake.
Yep. No, that's
gonna
the one
round
that
down
Jeff
to
pulls.
7. That's too
the
bad.
Jeff pull one.
Oh, that is the Jeff pull.
Yes,
My bad.
I always get 0.4, so I don't round up.
Yeah.
Just like in Charterstone.
Yep.
Always the 9s.
Always
Yeah.
the 9.
Anyway,
Always the
that
nines,
was
never the bride.
Yeah.
that was my gaming week.
Right on. Jeff, how about you?
So Tuesday night after work that I got out of very late,
Mm-hmm.
we were supposed to play Gloomhaven, but I had to go work. And after I was getting out of work, I had walked out of the brewery and noticed across the parking lot a commotion.
Oh shit!
Of
Yeah,
people.
I forgot about this. It was supposed to be the cold open.
Oh, right.
So I then was introduced to a group of people crafting a steel geometric dome that they were going to take to Burning Man. That was fun.
Nice. Was
Interesting.
was Mitch there? Because I've seen him craft a bunch of shit for Burning Man.
Mitch.
Yeah.
I'll show
Yeah,
you
he
Mitch.
comes to game night on occasion.
No, there was another man named Jeff that had made the whole thing.
Okay.
And since I was by far the tallest person by a good foot,
Oh wow.
yeah, I was
Wait,
like,
what?
yeah, everyone was like,
Adrian height.
yeah.
Jeff is not a foot taller than me.
But it was a ton of people, all in various states, trying to build this geodesic dome for Burning Man and like giving it a dry run. And
Mhm.
so I was assisting them with the construction, which I have some pictures and stuff of.
Okay.
They had like sewed a tarp to like fit over it, and then I had another guy from the brewery, Carl, over there helping, and then we handed them off like 5 or 6 cases of beer to take to Burning Man. And
Nice.
all of them were like, "Man, you should go to Burning Man. You've never been?" Oh, I'm not sure I would ever enjoy Burning Man.
Oh, I think you would enjoy it.
Yeah. You want to be in the desert for a week?
It's like really expensive to go to Burning Man
Th-
too.
that's
right?
the
Oh,
thing.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing
Oh.
that kills me is like Burning Man's supposed to be this like big counterculture, like hippie drug fest in the desert, and it's like several $1,000s to go to Burning Man.
You know, I
Yeah.
wish I could say I'm surprised, but I'm not.
yeah.
It's so fucking horseshit.
Like you have to buy tickets or something.
Yeah.
It's like
And,
fenced.
and it's a pain in the ass to get in and out, and
yeah.
yeah.
No.
There was a time in my life when I really wanted to do Burning Man, and I am over that.
yeah.
Damn capitalist pigs ruin everything.
Correct.
But anyway.
So what I got from that is Jeff ditched us to put together some kind of Burning Man thing, Zach.
Correct.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
To-
Yeah.
Uh huh.
God damn it.
After work. But that's we talked about everything else that I played besides Root, which we played a lot. We went up to Ant's new job of
Oh yeah.
working at a new poorhouse tap room thing, and Paul and Julie played the Mind.
Oh yeah, the Mind. I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to round 6, which is okay, or 7.
I watched you play the Mind.
Yeah.
While waiting for beer because it was a very long line.
Yeah, we lost with 3 throwing stars, which is the classic mistake. Yeah.
Sounds about right. $990 for Burning Man, or $1,200 for Burning Man.
Yeah.
Those are tickets.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah,
It was
it's
this. I think it was
ridiculous.
this last weekend.
And that's just the ticket.
Yeah.
That's not
Yeah.
getting out into the middle of the goddamn desert.
Which apparently the only thing you can buy is ice and coffee.
Yep.
So
You have to bring everything else.
Yep.
No water. No. You better have enough water for like 12 people, really, really high for a week or however many days it is.
Yep.
Maybe it's 2 days. I think it's just a weekend or something.
I don't know. I would think it'd be like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
That's how long most big festivals are.
Yeah. I don't know though. Who knows?
We may never know.
Yeah, we can't look that up.
Nope.
Possible to know.
It is.
I'm sure Zach's looking up right now.
But I certainly didn't play any computer games because my computer's still broken.
I did give you 2 video cards and a heat sink.
Yeah, and I did dig deep into what was working and not working on my computer, and I put the video card in, and the power supply and the RAM was still not. It still had the blinking red RAM light. Motherboard was green, but it still wasn't posting, which is really frustrating. It's always frustrating when it doesn't happen. So I'll probably have to buy some replacement parts. Was given a motherboard. And then I will get a processor that can fit that motherboard. And
Because unfortunately your current one does not.
No, I have a 3B slot, and that is a 4 slot for the new one. So, I mean, it's a newer motherboard. I can get a newer processor. It probably still won't be anything really
Yeah.
bleeding edge.
But I mean, I'm sure you'll still keep those video cards because they are the toppest of quality.
The
Yeah,
hotness.
the NVIDIA 550 Ti.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
August 2011, that one released.
Yeah, the Radeon 6770 HD. Basically released like right next to each other.
Yeah, like
At the same
July
time.
and August.
7 years ago.
Yes.
So on next week's episode of Jeff breaks and then fixes his own computer, what can we expect?
Well, I'll have to first make it work and then break it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
Yes.
He tries to force the processor in. And
It's a bold strategy.
yeah.
See how it works out for him.
Oh, this has too many pins. I'm just going to start pulling them out.
I guarantee someone has done that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
There is a classic where someone had like a 1080 Ti right when it came out, and it didn't fit their water cooling system because the holes or something was off. The water cooling system came with different brackets, which he had forgotten, so he decided to drill an extra hole in the board to make the water cool system fit. And then everyone was like, "Yeah, yep, you're done." And then he got mad at everyone for telling him how stupid he was. But that is a classic PC Master Race Reddit thread that is very enjoyable.
He was definitely not part of the Master Race.
Not that is called a not safe for Master Race.
Yes.
Yes.
This entire experience you've had with your computer being thoroughly destroyed by a beer makes me feel way better about, and she will hate that I'm sharing this story with her, but we built Megan's PC, and its case has an open vent on the top. And we built it. We got it all put together, got all the system things installed. I got Steam running for her, and she installed Sims, all fresh install. Was sitting down to play Sims. Like, had just booted it up. She was so excited to finally play like Sims 4 on like ultra quality settings. And she had a beer sitting next to her, and she went to like move somehow and dumped the beer over into the tower. I was standing right there, and she just goes. I just hear her like gasp, and I hear. and I just reached over and yanked all the plugs out of the wall, and then real quick took it back into the kitchen. All the computer like build stuff was still on the table, so I just pulled it all back apart as fast as I could, like set it out, and was like, "Fuck!" Like, how can we clean this up?
Did you put it in rice? Because you got to put it in rice.
Did not put it in rice.
Oh.
Just put the entire computer
Yeah.
in a big old thing of rice.
You know,
I'm
it's-
assuming you have like a 40-pound vat of
Yeah,
rice somehow.
It's a good thing that I keep 50 gallon
Every
drums of rice.
responsible computer owner has that.
What you all don't know is I'm a prepper, and I have just dry goods like
Yeah,
crazy.
of course.
But I ended up ultimately like, you know, very carefully using like Q-tips to like
Oh, God.
get it cleaned up, and like got it all cleaned up, and was like, okay, I can't see anything else I can do. Like, let's find out the damage, put it all back together, turned it on, started right up, worked great.
Wow.
Could not have problem. She was like in tears the entire time I'm working on it. Like, I'm so stupid. I can't believe I ruined my computer. We just spent all this money on this computer. Oh my God, I'm such an idiot. I was like, just let's just wait until we know whether it's fucked.
Yeah.
I was expecting it to be fucked.
To be fair, I would have said the same thing probably.
Yeah. But yeah, I got it all put back together, and hers booted right up. So hearing your horror story of a beer and a computer, I'm just like, well, clearly you didn't clean it right.
Well,
Jeff.
also,
Mine
he wasn't there when that
Yeah, I
happened.
know.
Mine had about a 5-hour resting period.
Yeah, so
Got
Jeff,
nice and soaked.
Yeah.
next time you explode a beer on your own computer, immediately take it apart.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Okay.
clean it.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can use distilled water and actually drench all the electronics. You just have to wait for it to dry out.
Yeah.
Right,
Yes.
right.
But it will completely clean everything off. People have had saltwater damage and
Oh, wow.
been able to fix it like that, like through flooding or something like that. But if you completely clean it with distilled water, it'll get all the stuff off it, basically.
Yep. So
It's only when it's on that you have problems.
Yeah.
Which mine was.
It might have been okay, but it might have just stayed on. And it was just slowly.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, maybe if you didn't hate the environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe if you didn't put a beer on top of his computer.
No, that you have to do that.
Yes.
it's
An
just such a convenient place to put a beer.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially unopened cans of beer.
I mean, I would be lying if I said I had not put lots of beers on my computer and other drinks.
But were they have companies that you know had an exploding beer problem?
No, they were not.
Yeah. To be fair, that beer was not on the list yet.
Well,
Yet.
You know what
It
happened?
is
You know what
now.
happened to all the exploding beers? They weren't on the list until they got put onto the list.
Yes.
Oh, Zach, what about you? What have you been playing?
Basically,
Same game.
the same games. It didn't help that for Root, because there's so many different factions, we got as many plays as we could with or at least with me, I did as many factions as I could.
Yeah.
So I've basically just been playing WoW still, and that's about it.
Okay.
So
Fair enough.
Look of disapproval.
You don't like WoW?
No. I mean, I played back in the day, and then I just woke up one day and was like, holy shit, what am I doing with my life or not doing with my life?
yeah, no,
And immediately canceled everything. Luckily, I have not gotten back into it. It's
yeah,
obviously crack.
yes.
Yes.
Literally.
Luckily, I have other things in my I have other things I have to do now.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm like doing it on my off time, and also it's not raiding or any of that shit. It's just
Yeah.
me doing random bullshit,
yeah.
dying a lot because I'm jumping off cliffs and
Well,
then
this was-
jumping
off cliffs.
off cliffs and then
Heroic leap.
heroic leaping, but then realizing I actually jumped into a tree, and so I couldn't click anywhere, and then I hit right next to the tree, and then the spirit healer makes fun of me.
Yes.
Sounds like a good use of time.
I've been on and off World of Warcraft. I'll play like at the beginning of an expansion, and then I'll give it till the end of the expansion, and then I just go back and do all the content at
Yeah.
the end,
Yeah.
and then
When they accelerate you, you're like,
yeah,
this beginning the questing and stuff, cool. Now for all that end game bullshit,
Yeah,
I'll just wait it out.
Yep.
And then also every time there's a new expansion, it's like, all right, let's go see what old world shit I can do by myself.
yeah,
Yeah.
I do a lot of that too.
Fair enough.
I just love that you're like, walk up to the Lich King, hey, how's it going? Like 2 shot.
Or you spend some time trying to do the achievements.
Yeah, that's what's annoying is you go back and you realize that there are some that you're like, I can't do these because I'm literally not 2 or more people.
Yep.
'Cause
Wish I had friends in this world of
I
Warcraft.
know.
The only time that I got sucked back in, if I recall correctly, this was so long ago, was I'm pretty sure it came out without PvP, right?
Correct.
Okay, and then they released PvP, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna murder
Yeah.
some people," and then I had the same experience.
Gotcha.
thankfully.
Yeah.
Otherwise, thousands of hours later of
Yeah.
my life.
Well, in this most recent one, they basically enabled war mode, which is so because all the servers are like cross realm and stuff like
Yeah.
that. You can just either not have PvP enabled or have PvP enabled,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
get extra
Extra
skill,
shit.
extra talents and stuff. But really, it's just I can heroic leap twice in a row if I do it really quickly. That's all I care about.
All right.
And then rows of alliance mobs just come by and just murder me. I'm like, okay,
enough.
Seems fair.
yeah.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, for myself, I also have not been playing much besides Root, because Root's got a lot of asymmetrical factions that we wanted to get played. So the one thing I did do is had Wes, friend of the show, active on Slack, over along with 4 of our other friends, and we recorded episode 1 of the Mile High Dungeon Delvers MHDD RPG podcast, and it went well. It would have went better if I had not deleted the first hour of audio with an errant Control Z instead of Control S, followed by a Control V. But overall, it went pretty well. It was mostly just kind of intro to character stuff and a little bit of travel as we get to the first major area where we're going to start having conflict, which is this like crazy, weird, haunted forest that we're trying to take some freed slaves to a hidden village inside of it. Slavery is real big in this.
Slave drivers.
No, we
Mile
are
high
liberators.
slave drivers.
Oh God, this is why we never let Paul on.
Yep.
Immediate slavery jokes.
Well, somebody has to.
I mean,
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
Is that not a requirement?
No, it's not a
That is-
requirement.
that is not at all. But no, in Wes's homebrew world, tieflings basically were humans that then one of the empires like unlocked some mystical arcane magic and became the first tiefling, and then they turned into an evil empire that oppressed everybody until a different empire rose up, overthrew them, and was like, as punishment, all tieflings are now slaves. And then this is now hundreds of years later where tieflings have been slaves for so long, and people are starting to be like, hey, maybe we shouldn't have slaves. And so our party has 2 tieflings in it, one of whom had been a slave, one of whom hadn't, and then 2 of the other characters are members of like a freedom front that goes around rescuing slaves in this empire and trying to resist them. And so our episode 0 was basically a quick little run through of a smashing into a plantation and freeing all of the other slaves, and then being harried on the road. That whole first episode was us going on the road and having to hide from Empire guards and Inquisitors who were looking for us as we tried to get to this hidden forest where we could get the freed slaves to safety. So nothing too terribly super exciting happened in it, but it was a lot of fun. It's a good group. I really like the people and the characters that they have done. I think it'll be really good. It's still a few months away from releasing. We're going to record up a couple episodes, get everything, make sure that everything goes smooth before we actually invest in the website and hosting for the podcast. But I'm getting some advice from the sound guy for Critical Role, which is a fairly major, popular RPG podcast.
which you listen to constantly at work.
I do. They're real good. I like Critical Role a whole lot. But their sound guy, their behind-the-scenes sound guy, has been giving me a lot of tips on mic setup and editing and mastering for that kind of a show. So audio quality won't be quite as good because the lapel mics aren't as nice as our mics for this one. It sounds a little bit more open room echoey than ours do on this show. But I think it's coming along pretty good. So we'll see how that is in a few months.
Until we spend $150 per lapel mic.
Correct.
Yeah.
Probably not going to happen for a while.
No.
This is your time for a Patreon plug.
Yeah. If you want to support the show.
So I've never heard of I've never heard an RPG podcast. I'm assuming you don't just release the entire audio.
Some of them do, like Critical Role.
Really?
Because
Wow.
Critical Role does it as a live stream.
Oh, okay.
So
sure.
you tune in for the live stream, and then the podcast is just the audio of the entire
Sure.
session.
Okay.
Ours will have a little bit of editing because we're not doing it as a live stream. So
Right.
like, if we're not live streaming, we might as well edit. Eventually, we do want to move to live streaming, but that will require viewers and
Locking
support
down.
and things like that for the nicer mics we would need and the cameras we would need to actually
Sure.
get a good live stream setup.
Lighting.
Lighting. The
So it's
lighting would
one
need to be
bare-
better in here.
One bare bulb hanging from the ceiling.
Right.
Why'd you have to mention it?
Paul immediately can't stop looking at it.
Yeah.
My retinas.
But that was mainly all I played aside from Root was D&D 5th edition, and it was a bunch of fun. I remember why I like RPGs.
Is this the
So-
first time you played 5th edition?
No.
Okay.
This campaign is my second time playing 5th. Or no, this is my first time playing 5th. But this particular session on Saturday was my 3rd session playing 5th. So I'm starting to
Gotcha.
get used to it. I had previously played Pathfinder, and I had previously played 4th edition. And did a little bit of 4th, not much 4th. But yeah, that's what I played. So
We played 5th of the condo, right?
no,
Fourth.
that was 4th. We were playing 4th
really?
in the condo.
Oh, okay.
Ant likes 4th because it's basically
Minis.
cuts the role play out, really combat oriented map. It's basically a little mini fighting
Yeah.
D&D.
5th edition tuned it back the other way.
Yeah, a little bit more towards the free form theater of the mind storytelling stuff. They're not as strict about grid based movement and shit like that. So anyhow, that wraps up banter. We can move on to news.
The
and
Bloody
Kickstarter.
Minute.
Oh, Bloody Minute's back.
Yes.
I'd gotten so used to it not being around.
Zach's favorite part of the podcast.
This is where he
Oh,
writes
this
the
is
rules.
nice because I can just continue to not pay attention.
Yeah, Zach zoned out hard during D&D talk.
Mm-hmm.
So on to the Bloody Minute. I played my first first training camp preseason game. I played against David. So our last 2 games have been against each other. Our last postseason game and our first preseason game. This was not the Murder Bowl 2000, like the last one was, because we were both fresh teams. Dark Elves on Lizards. I was playing Lizards. David playing Dark Elves. His team is a Witch Elf, 3 Blitzers, the rest linemen. He didn't take any runners, and of course did not take any assassins because
They're terrible.
Yeah. I did the classic 6 Sorai, 1 Crocs, and 4 Skinks, and then 2 rerolls for my starter team. The beginning of the game was I received, David got Fame. David's team also, by the way, is the 4th Drow and Goal, which I thought was awesome.
That's pretty clever.
That's a good name.
We got a riot on the kickoff, so we all each immediately lost a turn. So I started turn 2. Did some bashing here and there, but didn't come up with much, which was basically the whole game for me. My Skinks were real rough on trying to pick up the ball because they just pick it up on a 3+. Was able to protect the ball enough to kind of cage it up against him. As they are all agility 4 Dark Elves, he was dodging away from all of my Sauruses each turn, which made me bashing even harder. I am quite fast, though, so as he was backing up all of his Dark Elves, that gave them a really easy, get wherever the hell they wanted to go, because they're some of the highest strength, fastest move people in the game. The Croxagors still move 6, the fastest big guy in the game, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Maybe only the Blackhoof, like Minotaur Star player, I think might be movement 6.
Maybe, yeah.
And then like Morg.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Except for stars, yeah.
Yeah, except for stars.
I'm sure Ant will correct us if
Yes,
we're wrong.
I'm sure he will. First half, pretty uneventful. He casualtied out one of my Skinks because of because I have nothing with block. Rolled like a both down, reroll both down on a 2-die block. Nothing much you can do about that. At least it wasn't any skulls. But one thing I did roll a lot of this game was Snake Eyes. I probably had 6 total Snake Eyes on armor breaks, which was nuts. And then the rest of the armor breaks had 1 plus another die, which doesn't do anything against anything. So the first half ended pretty uneventful. I got a KO on a lineman. He had casualtied out one of my Skinks. Second half, his KO didn't come back in. My Skink was badly hurt, so it did not come back in. Then we kicked off again. We had a 5? No, cheering fans, the 6 on the kickoff. So he got an extra reroll, giving him like 4 rerolls, I think. He started with 3.
I can't remember if you start. I think you start with 2 with 1 witch,
Yes.
3 blitzers.
Yes, yeah. 2 rerolls went up to 3. But since I set up first, I just put the Crocs in the middle with 2 Saurus next to them. And then he didn't set up any right in front of them at all. He just did wings, and then the ball went directly to the front of my Croxagor. It was 1 bounce away, and then it bounced back. Yeah, it could have started with a Crocs and 2 Sauruses on the ball at the beginning of the half.
No problem. Just blitz them all off. It's
Yeah.
No problem. Just all of them.
Dark Elves
Yep.
blitzing off 2 strength 4s and a 5. Yep. They'll get right on it.
In one turn.
Yes.
I mean, really what they would have done is just picked up the fucking ball, said, fuck you, and run away.
Fuck you with -3 to the
Yep,
pickup.
doesn't matter.
And the -1 to the dodge away.
Doesn't matter.
from the
We're
pants
elves. We're elves, motherfucker.
Second half was a little more eventful. I got a couple more armor breaks, got a blitzer out of the game, and another lineman. I ended up not taking any more casualties or KOs. I was able to protect my Skinks really well because they're all strength 2, but they're move 8. He had ended up with a really nice cage over in my backfield, but because all of the Saurai are so fast,
Taurus.
that I was able to surround his whole cage with strength 4 guys, and then a Crocs was in there, blitzed into the cage, and was right next to the ball carrier. He was able to kind of get around. I probably should have moved some Skinks a little bit off, but so he couldn't get around the cage as easily, or would have had to hit the Skinks, which would have removed his blitz. Thankfully, he rolled some unlucky ones, which gave me the ability to continue to smash his team and then pick up the ball. But then some unlucky hits on turn 7 made it so I needed to roll pretty lucky on the last turn to win because we were scoreless at the time. Ended up with needing a 3+ pickup and a 3+ handoff for the win from, I don't know, two squares on my half into the handoff, and then like just an easy 6 move into the win. So first win, 1-0. David and I's constant know-nothing games that matter continue.
All right, and time for the second Bloody Minute.
Yes.
Oh, Paul, you played too?
Of course. So I first disclaimer, I did not say Blood Bowl is my favorite game earlier because Blood Bowl is a way of life. It's not a game.
Yeah, we should all know that there's Blood Bowl and then there's everything else.
Right, there's Blood Bowl and then there's games.
Like your U of game weight is on a Blood Bowl mat.
Right, yeah,
Yeah,
correct.
there's Blood Bowl background.
Right, yeah.
It's sponsored by Blood Bowl.
I will keep my Bloody Minute to a minute, unlike other people who shall not be named. Adrian.
Adrian and Jeff and anybody who's ever done a Bloody Minute.
I've never done a bloody minute.
No, I was just throwing Adrian under the bus unnecessarily. Anyway,
Which is totally allowed, by the way.
It seemed necessary to me.
Yeah, of course. Oh, sorry. So I played my 2 preseason games. I'm also playing Lizards. I have the same setup. I'm pretty sure it's the only sane setup for Lizards.
Your team is called
Gatorade.
Gator Space Raid.
Gatorade.
Gatorade.
Yep, we're raiding. My Crocs is named Aaron Hernandez, which I'm very proud of.
I'm sure someone gets that reference.
Maybe one of your listeners. I'll be impressed. Send an email to Jeff.
Yes.
Anyway, so I played 2 preseason games, one against Matt, his Necro team. I try not to remember the details of my Blood Bowl games because they're usually just too frustrating. So we tied 1-1. Matt rolled very well. I think he would even admit he rolled very well. He was playing extremely risky because, in his words, it's just a preseason game. So
Even then, training camp.
Yeah, sure, where no one can die.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, one of his scores, for example, was on a like a 5+, 4+, 3+, 2+, 2+, 2+.
Wow.
Yeah, so with no reroll. So I mean, it's he played very risky and it worked out for him. So 1-1 tie. My second game was a 2-1 win against Henry's Humans, and it should have been a 1-1 draw, except I got a 1 turn on turn 16. So that's always exciting.
You just got the right pushes and such.
Yep. So it's 4 pushes with Lizards because you're move 8. He did set up well to prevent it, but can't, when you roll 6s, can't prevent it. So
Yeah.
I rolled well on that, and my team, as usual for my teams, no stat ups yet, no doubles yet. So I only have 2 skills going into the regular seasons on my players, which is not ideal for Lizards, but there we go.
Womp womp.
Yeah, womp womp indeed.
Yeah, our game ended with David getting an MVP and a completion, and me getting a casualty, MVP, and touchdown.
Yeah, not a lot of SPP to be had out there.
Nope.
Right on. Well, now that the Bloody Minute has returned and concluded
Twice,
we can move on to news and Kickstarters.
Indeed. First up in news, there's some app news out there. Pandemic has launched on Steam.
Yes.
I think there was already an app for it before.
There was, but now it's on Steam.
Now it's on Steam for $10.
Mhm.
It's Pandemic, but the actual Pandemic, not that other Pandemic Inc., which there is also a board game of now.
Yes.
And then there's some more details on the Stockpile app, which we talked about a couple weeks ago. There's a release date for September, so next month.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that we were curious on when we were reading it, it was like, I wonder if it's going to have any expansions. Good news. It's just coming with the Dice expansion for free, which is awesome.
And you get to choose the different modules that you want. So
Yes.
you can tailor it a lot better.
Yeah, most do that. But I'm glad that the Dice will be in there and the Dice will be free.
Yes.
Because I bet the
Well, that's
app-
the whole
Yeah.
the whole expansion, not just
Yeah.
the dice.
Yeah, the
I-
entire Continuing Corruption expansion
Yeah.
is included
I just
on
want-
launch day.
I just want Dice.
I understand that.
Yes, that is the big part.
That's the most important part. Yes.
Yeah, a whole bunch of different things. Async ranked games with a global ladder, 3 AI difficulties, push notifications, friend list and chat, tutorial, dual user interface approach for like if you just want to play a pass and play on a tablet, I believe. Yeah.
Seems well fleshed out.
Coming right along.
Because it looks like it's also coming out on desktop. So I think it's going to look different depending on which one you're using.
Correct. And then Noch, another roll and write, got announced as a app coming soon.
It's a good spot for roll and writes apps.
Yeah, they actually work real well.
Yeah.
It's actually out right now. Sorry,
it's nice
not
because
coming. It's out.
It's
right
nice
now.
because then you don't have to roll anything or write anything.
It's an app and app.
Yeah.
Yeah, plenty of board game apps to keep you entertained when you don't have time or space for a real board game.
So I have never bought a board game app. I don't
I
know.
have several.
I have several.
It just like it defeats the purpose of playing. I'm sure there's a discussion for another time,
Mhm.
but it just defeats the purpose of playing a board game to me.
I mean, the main reason I don't play them very often because the main reason I do play board games is the social interaction around
Right?
the table.
Exactly.
But there are a few games that, like, especially if I'm sitting like in an airport terminal and I don't
Sure.
really have room to do anything else, it's nice to be able to pull out, my phone and throw down on a game of Twilight Struggle or something that I
Yeah.
don't get to play anyway.
That's fair. That's a fair point.
So
It's really nice for games that like deck builders. Really, it's more solitaire-esque games. It works well for that because
You're playing by yourself anyway.
Yeah, you're playing by yourself anyway,
Yeah.
and then it like you don't have to actually shuffle it and
Sure.
keep track of your cards, and especially with the Ascension expansions, more and more different types of tokens and bullshit like that. You don't have to do it. It does all the calculations and crap for you. So if you're just trying to get your best version of whatever it is, then
Yeah.
so that's where like the roll and write one worked well.
You know what? I realized I lied. I did have Dominion before they like abandoned that publisher and the app died.
Oh yeah,
So that was great.
yeah.
And then I do have Le Havre on my iPads. We played that in the car.
that's
once.
right. We did on the way
Yeah.
to Gen Con.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Which, man, I wish Le Havre was on Android. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's like the one game I really wish would make the jump to Android.
Anyway.
Just
I don't.
spend many hundreds of dollars on an iPad and you'll be all right.
Yeah.
You can get all you want.
Yeah.
All the Le Havre you
But then
want all the
then I
time.
own an iPad.
Oh, come on.
That's what I survive off of currently.
It's
It's
right
what
in
we
front
play
of him.
music on at work.
I know.
It's very useful.
And I hate it.
He hates all the music that comes
no,
with
no,
it.
no. I think it's just that the
Well-
iPads don't play the Nickelback loud enough.
Yeah, that's probably what it
God
is.
damn it. You beat me. This is what I get for like trying to have good mic etiquette and wait for you to finish what
Yeah.
you were saying before. Because I was
No.
going to be like,
No, you just
well,
gotta
I
jump in there
probably
like
hate
this.
it. I probably hate it because Jeff always plays Nickelback on it.
You play the Nickelback.
I've
I
never-
have to. I have to
I've
turn
never-
it off.
I've never
I
won-
have to turn it off all the time.
The other day, I was in the cooler. I was putting shit away, and I hear Nickelback come on. Why the hell do we wind up like this or whatever?
Yeah,
the
knows
song-
the
you know all the
lyrics. He knows
lyrics.
lyrics,
All
yeah.
of the lyrics.
Oh bullshit! Most of you know the lyrics.
I
to that
know
damn
no
song.
lyrics.
Nope. Zero.
And
I don't even know who Nickelback is.
Whatever.
yeah,
And I yell, I'm like, Jeff, don't you fucking do it. And I kind of look around the corner and I see him walking away into the yard. I was like, God damn it. So whenever they're going to change it, and he'd locked the fucking screen.
nice. What's the phrase? Douse protests too much. Too much.
Yeah. Or not enough.
Or not.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys.
Adrian loves Nickelback.
Anyway, next news.
Next news. WizKids has a new starter box, campaign box, for Warhammer 40k Dicemasters. It's going to be $40, and you've played Dicemasters before. You have Dicemasters.
I have Dicemasters. Yes.
It's like a dice game.
it's a collectible dice game, Jeff. Your favorite.
Collectible
Yes.
in there. That's my favorite word.
yeah.
It's a CDG.
Yeah. For that one, you start with basic dice. It's sort of like, have you played Warriors?
I love Warriors.
It's like that, but
I've
with
been wanting to play that.
yeah.
Warriors I played once a long time ago at Bicycle Cafe. It was okay.
I
For being a bunch of dice chucky bullshit, I didn't hate it that much.
I own almost all of it.
Gotcha.
Because I think they stopped
Yes.
making things for it
Yes,
after
they
a
did.
while.
Finally.
Yeah.
Is it in my garage? Maybe I'll just pull it out and play it.
I think it's back in Chicago.
Oh.
I visited it.
Pet it.
Yes, I
Ooh,
visited
Warriors.
and
Yeah,
all
I
my
like Warriors.
and my comic book collection.
Yep.
And all my 40k stuff actually.
So, Jeff, how do you feel about Warhammer 40k Dice Masters?
So this seems like to be a nice like starter set that comes with a bunch of stuff, which
Yes.
reminds me of Warriors.
Uh-huh.
There's no real collectible thing out of here. It could be cool enough to own and play as a game instead of having to purchase a bunch of
Uh-huh.
expansion shit.
Right. Now, I do want to say, when in the pre-show stuff, Adrian asked Jeff, so what do you think about this 40K Dicemasters game, and Jeff's like, I think I might want to get Dicemasters.
Did someone say 40K?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't you slap a theme on
Uh-huh.
anything and expect me not to buy it.
Right? Yeah.
But I guess it's Ultramarines and Plague Marines / Death Guard.
If you want to try out Dicemasters to see if because I'm sure it's gonna play relatively the same, just with the different flavors of things.
Even if you've never played 40K, this is an exciting entry point into a dystopian militaristic sci-fi science fantasy world that's been enjoyed by fans the world over for 30 years.
No, I think the Munchkin Warhammer 40K is the best way to get into the Warhammer 40K franchise.
Oh my god.
Does that exist?
Yes, it's going to, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Things that shouldn't exist ever.
Right?
I'm just going to own all of the terrible things, but with a 40K theme.
Yeah, but this is why they pulled out of the Fantasy Flight deal, so they could start making Dicemasters and Munchkin.
With WizKids.
Yeah, with WizKids.
Yeah.
And Steve Jackson games.
I feel like somebody made a drastic miscalculation.
Except where they made like a fuckload of money
Yes.
last year.
Fair enough.
I have no words.
Next up in news,
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Square Enix at Gamescom has announced Tomb Raider Legends, the board game, coming out early next year. Looks to be a 4-player board game.
Circular board with random setup, so different locations will be randomly kind of placed out there. Players can perform actions, rest, steal, explore, rush, or assault in these locations. The art is it, and this. I'm curious to see how this actually works because it says the art comes from the original video game all the way up to and including the most recent remakes.
What
Okay.
the fuck does that mean?
Yeah,
The
Well, and it
original-
looks like you're different versions of Lara Croft, too. Like,
What? In the same game?
yeah.
That makes sense.
yeah. This I
I don't know. It's like old. Not like Pyramid Boob Laura, but like a little bit after that.
Maybe Tomb Raider 3.
Yeah, like the top one looks like.
No,
Where-
that's original Tomb Raider.
Oh,
That's,
is
That's probably just
Oh, I'm thinking of in-game graphics versus
in-game versus the art that was on
Yeah.
the box.
Yes, it can be OG Laura,
Yeah.
but I don't see the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider on here, so
Yeah, probably didn't get the rights to that one, I would suspect.
probably
Yeah,
not.
because it's Tomb Raider 1, Tomb Raider 3, then I'm not sure any of these are from the new one.
No, it's not.
Yeah, these
are we supposed to be nice and optimistic during the news segment?
No,
No,
feel free
no,
to-
absolutely not.
All right. Holy fuck. If
Yeah.
anyone buys this.
No, as soon as I saw it, I was like, I wonder what this is, and then I saw that you're just different versions of Laura. I was like, oh no.
So, Zach, we're beginning this game. Which version of Laura would you like to be
Right,
this
yeah.
time?
I want to be Tomb Raider 3, Laura.
With the cool sunglasses.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How does it even make sense when you're all the same character?
Don't even
I don't know. The mythology is all wrecked now.
Jesus Christ.
I'm not a big fan of how the board looks either, just because it's very
It looks very mass market.
not just that too, but
Where did you even find those pictures?
It was in the Twitter.
it was in the tweets
I
right here, like literally on the article where it says there were a bunch of tweets. You click on the tweets,
yeah, I did, and it didn't pull up the
tweets
same
regarding,
stuff.
and then did you scroll down?
A lot of things were announced at Gamescom.
Yeah,
Adrian, for as much time as you spend on Twitter, I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah.
It was
I
5
did.
days
I
ago.
did follow a different link in there that also leads to Twitter, and all the replies are people doing different Tomb Raider gifs of like the old games, and that's pretty great. Like Lara doing weird backflips and front flips with really low res poly graphics,
Classics.
and then one of her running in the new movie, which is somebody on the way to get this as soon as I can. So it's probably gonna make a bunch of money.
Licensed.
Yeah.
Next up in news, there is yet another Isle of Skye expansion coming.
Yeah. So this is Druids, which unlike the previous one, which I'm drawing a blank on, Journeyman. Unlike Journeyman, this doesn't really change. It doesn't add any new mechanics. The only thing it really does is adds a second round of buying tiles. So you do the first round of buying tiles from each other, and then a second round where you're buying them from like the center offering. And those second tiles will have either tablets or scrolls. Tablets give you a special effect that lasts throughout the game, and then the scrolls are just the scrolls from the base game that are end game scoring modifiers. So, but supposedly still plays in about an hour, even with Druids mixed in, and Yeah,
Apparently releasing like this month and or
this or next month. Yeah,
not a whole
soon.
lot of information on it. It doesn't sound like it's going to drastically change much.
it seems
Add some
like
new
more like
scoring
a
tiles and stuff.
more like a mini expansion.
Yeah, but
Yeah, pretty much an extra tiles one. So
Here's more.
have you played with the first one yet?
I have not.
Okay.
I almost did when I was in Michigan, but enough of the people there weren't actual like super into our kind of modern board games,
Mm-hmm.
and so Megan and I decided just to do the base, which they ended up loving. They actually really enjoyed it, but we didn't get a chance to play it again to mix in the Journeyman.
Gotcha.
I want to though.
Well, if only you had a night dedicated to gaming that you could bring it out.
Son of a bitch.
Next up on news / last up on news. There's a new expansion for Caverna Cave vs. Cave called Era 2, The Iron Age, coming out soon, October-ish.
Yeah, it adds 4 new rounds where iron shows up as a new raw material that you need a donkey to harvest it, and then it can be processed into iron bars, which can then be processed into weapons. 21 new facilities, extended cave plan to make room for all the new buildings, and a score block. And then the 4 new rounds follow the 8 original, so it could be you could play a full 12-round game, but there is also a simulation version that like gets you past a quick start variant that starts in the Iron Age. So it just basically skips the first 8 rounds and you play the last 4 rounds, which so you can actually it's an expansion that actually shortens the game.
I think you're the only one that has played Cave vs. Cave.
Yes, Megan and I really liked it. It's a
Oh.
solid little 2-player variant on Caverna.
How long is it?
45.
Oh, okay.
30 to 40 or 30 to 60.
Thanks, Zach, for
Yeah.
that more precise estimate.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks for not being such
And
a
I
piece
feel
of
like
shit,
it took us
Zach.
about 45 minutes. So that seems and that was a
that's-
learning game.
That's
so.
just hearsay.
Yeah. It's clearly 30 to 60.
Yes. I do like though that it says on here. It says, if you're not Rosenberg fans, this does not mean your opponent will raise up a dwarven army and send them hurtling into your cave in a bloodthirsty attack. The designer has promised no direct confrontation will be allowed in this expansion.
much like Caverna, where you
Yes.
could arm your dwarves. They
Yeah.
just went out on adventures.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that guy didn't have any dwarves.
I don't think I've
Has
ever
any
seen
armed
any
dwarves, and
UVA
look at
that
all this-
has
yeah.
direct confrontation.
No, I'm waiting for Caverna, the PvP expansion.
I don't think unless Uva lets somebody else develop it
Yeah.
and then is like, oh yeah, sure, add this thing that I refuse to use in any of my games into my games.
I'm looking forward to playing the race expansion for Caverna.
Yeah, that
I think the box is at Spiel this
Yes,
year.
yeah.
They put up some pictures of it recently too.
Yep. You know about that at all?
No, I haven't
Okay.
heard of that. No.
Basically, it was a fan expansion
oh,
that they're like,
this is so good.
this
we have
is
to
pretty
make
good.
It?
Yeah, let's
nice.
let's
Wow.
just make it. So yeah, and it adds races, so you have your own little unique
Powers
powers
and-
and stuff like that.
I am on Team Agricola. Sorry, Jeff.
Everyone can be wrong.
Yes, like you are when you think Caverna is better than Agricola.
pretty sure-
I'm
pretty
pretty sure
sure-
if we look on BGG,
Pretty
I'm pretty sure we're going to see the
positive.
Caverna is going to be a
Yeah, because
little bit higher.
We all
Caverna-
know
I'm not-
BGG's for casuals.
I'm not familiar with Caverna. Tell me more about this. Caverna. I think in this room it's 2 Agricola, 1 Caverna, 1 Fuck Heavy Games.
I mean, out of the two, it would be Caverna, but
Yeah, Caverna continues to be number 16 overall. Agricola being number 19 overall.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Terraforming Mars still number 4.
first mention.
Which, according to the hater, that is where Terraforming Mars
Will stay
well, it
Until-
will never get higher.
Oh, he's
until
right.
something annihilates everything else.
yeah.
It is peaked.
Unfortunately, it has begun to peak.
Yep.
And then peaked.
Mhm. I don't know if we could just get everybody to change all of their votes. It could
Yeah.
go back up.
But then everyone's going to vote at 0 to offset all of the other votes.
Yeah. But then we just do a massive purge, and then it'll be fine.
Just turn the world into Purge.
Yeah.
Legalize the purge.
Purge. Hashtag.
Purge Planet.
hmm
On to
Yeah.
Kickstarters. First up in Kickstarters this week is The Ancient World 2nd Edition. Very well funded, $137,000 of its $25,000 goal, over 2,500 backers, but only about a week left to pledge this one, which you can for $50. But there is a $15 upgrade pack from 1st Edition if you own that.
Has anybody here played a Ryan Lockett game?
Nope.
Okay.
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Near and Far, Above and Below.
Oh, no, I haven't played those. I want to,
Okay.
though.
Yeah.
It
I
always
know
looks
like
so
Heather and Matt
Megaland,
really like
yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Like the people who like them love them.
Yeah.
But I know that they're definitely not for everyone because they're an interesting blend of like storytelling
Mhm.
and gameplay.
Yeah.
Which is why I want to play it.
Yeah. I give them a shot. They really look good.
Yeah. I think he does the art for it too, or at least like, he does a lot for. It's one
He
of
might
those.
do the
yeah.
art as well. Yeah. Red Raven, all of their games are really solidly pretty games.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really know much about Ancient World. Even though this is a second edition of it. Looking through it, it has the really good art you've come to expect. They went through and updated the card art, the game board, deluxe player boards, things like that. They're adding metal coins, which have a really cool design on them. I really like the metal coins in this one. Although they're going to be the kind that like don't stack for shit, which is like my main problem with metal coins. Is like part of me wants to love them and use them so much, but they're so I can't organize them.
I don't understand. Just do a rim around them. Like, do the cool design still, and then put a fucking rim around them.
They,
and then
they look
stack.
more like the ancient coinage than
Sure.
modern coins, I
Which
guess.
I
Rims
find
didn't exist in the ancient
did
world.
the ancient people hate stacking coins?
Yes.
They didn't need to. They didn't have that many.
Yeah, they just inflation was so down. You have one, and you're like, I'm good for life with this one.
The coins in here are probably worth a whole civilization's amount of actual metal coins they had in this era.
Yeah. So what you do is you make a time machine,
Don't think that
take this
statement has any
money,
basis
go
in
back
fact.
and then just flood the economy back then. Destroy it.
So I come on the podcast, and everyone's full of bullshit now.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
You've infected us.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Paul's bullshit is contagious.
But the general gist of the game is you're empire building, but you're also trying to defeat massive titans that are across the world with various military cards and such. So
Very pretty box.
Yeah.
yeah, it's updating like player boards, new titans,
Double-sided player boards.
With
Yeah.
different faction abilities on each side.
some new mechanics where the titans will actually attack you. Apparently, you were just
One of the stretch goals is a paper score pad,
okay.
which really, if it's going to be a stretch goal, I would prefer dry erase, like laminated, like 4 or 5 dry. Like how many players does it play? 6, 5, 4? You know, that many laminated sheets. Boom, throw them in there.
Why not just have one then with one laminated one that has space for like columns for each player?
That would work too. I'd be totally fine with that. That actually sounds better.
Boom, crushed it.
I'm sure after they hear this podcast, that's the direction.
Correct.
they're
Yeah.
going.
Their final, the last stretch goal they have listed at $160,000 is art printed on the box interior. Because I really want to open my board game box and be like, that's some sweet inside box art.
To be fair, a lot of people appreciate all the art that is on these,
Yeah.
and someone might enjoy more art from an artist they enjoy.
Yes.
That's on the inside of the box where you
Yeah,
never fucking see it.
You'll see it when you open up the box and you put
and then immediately put the lid underneath the box,
No.
and then you don't see it anymore.
I bought the artist connoisseur edition of Scythe just to get an art book from the artist of Scythe.
Yeah, that's an art book that you can like look through and enjoy the art from.
You can open up that box and enjoy that art.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's just as easy as opening up a book.
I don't think that's true.
I enjoy 2 things in Kickstarter.
I might be opening up books wrong.
Sounds like it.
Lifting the lid
Yeah,
off.
yeah.
2 things in Kickstarters that are amazing.
Uh-huh.
One pledge level that's very simple.
Yep.
Like Gloomhaven, or Founders of Gloomhaven, and Gloomhaven.
Yes.
And 2, meaningful stretch goals,
Yeah.
which are hard to come by.
Because even stuff like extra wooden pieces, like if you're not including enough wooden pieces in the base
Right,
box, then that's a
exactly.
problem.
Exactly.
And I don't need more than enough.
Yeah. Help us fill our stretch goals to fix our game. Anyway,
I'm sure
I
there
mean, you know this is Kickstarter,
I
right?
do
That's
like
how
the
it works.
$125
Yeah,
goal of
right.
upgrade the cardboard pieces to 40 custom ambrosia pieces.
ooh,
$125,000 goal.
you had me at
Yes.
Ambrosia.
Yeah,
That's Ancient World, 2nd edition.
got some cool art.
Yeah.
Don't know if it's any good of a game.
Well, there was a 1st edition, so if the 1st edition looks cool,
Which I mean, I guess like you can look up stuff about the 1st edition, but they didn't give a very good like. This is basically how the game plays anywhere.
what a lot of what they put in this is like, this is what is changing in the 2nd edition.
Yeah.
Is mostly what is on this Kickstarter.
Which I mean, I guess you don't want new backers.
I mean, the first one, it was 4 years ago. It's 7.1 on there, so it seems
It's not bad.
No, it's in the top 1,000 barely.
All right. Good enough.
Yeah.
I'll take a top 1,000 design board game.
Yeah, there you go.
Next up on Kickstarter is Cryptocurrency, the board game. Almost funded, $4,100 of its $4,300 goal, 184 backers, and just under 2 weeks left to go. And you can pledge this one for about $21.
Indeed. So this one should be somewhere up Zach's alley. because it sounds like you do sketchy shit with currency, which is
Cryptocurrency,
one of
in
Zach's
fact.
favorite mechanics in board games.
You're not wrong.
Seems like the whole game is you're trying to scam a bunch of people into
Oh, now I'm interested. Okay.
into buying your new cryptocurrency.
Correct.
Do I get to make up bullshit names for it?
Maybe.
If Welcome To can do that, I don't see why cryptocurrency, where you're making a new cryptocurrency, you can't make some stupid name for it. Like
Yeah.
but to be fair, all the other ones already have stupid names.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so in this, you're going to be using expert cards that help you spread rumors, trade, or mine cryptocurrency more effectively. And so you hire different ones to optimize, how you want to go about winning. Do you want to just amass a bunch of cryptocurrency? Do you want to trade your shitty cryptocurrency for good ones? You spread rumors that, hey, my shitty cryptocurrency is actually good cryptocurrency. You should get in on this.
Do we also get to fuck over the video card market in this game too?
I don't know. But
It's not a good time.
Otherwise, it's not realistic enough.
It was not a good time to break your video card.
No, it's
No.
not.
Then there is.
By the way, the 7-year-old ones, those are $100 each. So,
Actually, I looked up new prices for those. They were right around $90 each,
Oh my
actually,
God.
still.
yeah,
Jesus.
$10 shipping, which that you had
All right.
to come to my house for.
Then you can mine cryptocurrency, where you use your experts to solve a digital algorithm using hash cards in a push your luck little mini game. If you devote enough experts, you're guaranteed to succeed. But if you use less, then you might not actually get it. Just like in the real world of cryptocurrency, mining will get more difficult as more and more people mine the same resource. Successful mining exercise will reward you with cryptocurrencies and transaction fees. Failed attempt gets you nothing. Then you can trade your cryptocurrencies. Looks like there's like 4 different ones in this game. Black, blue, red, and teal, with vague symbols. Volcano, top hat, lion, and wing.
It's Mysterio, Flight, Singa Coin, and Eruptium, I want to say. At least
Sure.
it's up here in the components list. It sort of names them.
Gotcha.
So it doesn't look like we can make our own bullshit names.
Nope.
Let's take a marker to it.
It's now a legacy game.
Don't give them any
You
ideas.
can take out loans to speculate on different currencies, and then you have a bunch of other cards you can play to rumor monger. If fake news and social media is your domain, consider the rumor mongering strategy. At the end of each turn, each player will have a chance to play one open or hidden rumor card to each cryptocurrency. And so that lets you manipulate like what's going to happen, whether their prices are going to go up, whether they're going to go down, shit like that. And then there's the scam. At the end of the game, all hidden rumor cards will be unveiled in the cryptocurrency with the lowest rumor points will be declared as a scam and will become worthless.
I'm sorry, did you say scam?
Scam.
I'm in.
Hashtag scamming.
Just like all cryptocurrencies,
Mhm.
one of them is a scam.
The problem is the player that holds the most amount of a particular coin will be richly rewarded with bonus points. As each of you proceed in laying down the rumor cards, you will need to deduce which coin is a scam based on the cards you laid and other players' actions. Do you HODL, crypto slang for hold on for dear life,
Oh god.
or do you sell before the game ends? If you manage to avoid the scam, you may have a good chance to be the one to accumulate the most money and be declared as the ultimate cryptocurrency investor. There's advanced boards and a bunch of shit like that, but yeah. Zach, you get to scam people out of money. Right up your alley.
yeah.
What are the pledge levels?
There's 2. There's the standard edition for $21,
Oh, okay.
and the freemium edition for $2.
You get the cards, but you don't get the
You
board.
get cards and tokens, and that's it. No box, no expansion, no boards, and they send you
Game boards,
Print and
rulebook,
play.
coin
Yeah.
tokens, and education guide will be available via print and play.
Yeah.
They
Box,
just send you a
advanced-
bag of a bunch of shit
Yeah.
in it and slap you in the face.
yeah, pretty much
for
Yeah.
$2.
for $2 though.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
the
getting the-
box, the advanced boards, the event expansion, and player markers are excluded from this pledge level.
I mean, $21.
It's not that. I mean, it's not. Yeah,
Yeah, I'd spend the extra 8 if I was going to get this game. I'd spend
Right.
the extra 18 to actually get components.
to actually get the game.
Yes,
I think it's an interesting pledge level.
yeah.
Because the cards are a lot of what the game is, anyways.
they do have a self pickup if you're going to be at Essen or if you want to go to Singapore, where they are based out of.
No.
But yeah, that's cryptocurrency. Go check it out if you want to play a game about speculating on different cryptocurrencies.
I'm gonna at least have them tell me 48 hours before it ends. So
Quite the commitment.
I know.
And they do have a fleshed out rulebook on there as well, which is very nice.
Yeah.
Next up in Kickstarters is Pax Pamir, 2nd edition. Very well funded, 53,000 of its $10,000 goal, 700 backers, and about 3 weeks left to go. And you can pledge this one for $60.
Just one pledge level, exactly what Paul likes.
Yep.
That's right.
This is from designer Cole Worley, who designed Root, which we're reviewing this Friday. He also was the designer behind
John Company,
which I don't care for.
I also don't care for.
But
it at least shows that he makes different styles of games.
yes,
Sure. To be fair, John, and I feel like you said this adequately previously, Adrian, but John Company was a great game, but I just hated one mechanism.
yeah, it's a very interesting game. Like
it
I
is.
think Cole Worley designs interesting games.
Oh, absolutely.
They're just some of his games, because he does such interesting and like weird things, they're not going to be for everyone.
Right.
But so Pax Pamir plays in 45 to 150 minutes, 1 to 5 players, and it's a historical game about politics and power in 19th century Afghanistan. And basically, he goes into this a bunch on the Kickstarter. When he first designed Pax Pamir, he was originally looking to do something about kind of a Cold War that Great Britain and Russia had in the 19th century. But the more he learned about it, the more he learned about how really shitty their colonialism and like, extraterritorial wars and shit got. He was like, I can't handle this in a satisfying way as a game. But then he learned about this whole upheaval that happened in Afghanistan at the same time, where the Durrani powers collapsed, and then it was kind of a power struggle in Afghanistan back in the 19th century, and that's what he made Pax Pamir from. This is part of the Pax series, which is now Pax Pamir, Pax Ren, and Pax Porfiriana, which I've heard really good things about all of them. Pax Ren is supposed to be one of the most opaque, hardest games to understand what you're doing in it. I don't know a lot about Pax Pamir. It's been a while since the first edition came out.
They show the differences between the first and the second, and
it's substantial.
Yeah. The first one, the old money was white Mingo chips. That was the coins.
Yeah. This one will have large punch board with like period designs. The old map was point to point. It was like cards that you just kind of put together. This one's going to be like a rolled screen printed cloth map to simulate Persian and Indian games from that same time period.
And the art on the cards is just a lot better too.
It's going to be a bigger box, so it's going to have more room for bigger pieces, things like that. Better card art, better card design. Then he also says that, over the few years, he's learned a lot about game design since he first designed Pax Pamir. And so he's been able to go through, simplify, and streamline the rules, and kind of get everything tightened down. He says actions have been consolidated and simplified to be more expressive without the rules overhead. New victory system allows players to easily see who's in the lead and evaluate board position. Rulebook has been rewritten and modernized, and the game's graphics have been rebuilt from the ground up to be more intuitive and allow for larger illustrations.
In the funding goals, they upgraded the coalition blocks from wood to resin, and now they just added engravings. So I think they actually look.
They're gonna.
Look great.
It'll
gonna
look
be
nice.
great.
Yeah, and then you're gonna get a tray, assuming it gets to 60,000, which I would guess. You get a tray to hold those things, and then eventually there'll be a metal coins add-on too, which look really nice as well.
Those do look really nice, but again with the stacking.
Yeah, and this game, I don't know if you said it, it's not going to have a traditional retail release.
So, I did not.
Yes.
I didn't see that, so I did not mention it.
Interesting.
Yep. Pretty much this is the only way to get a copy if you want it.
It was a 2015 Golden Geek nominee for Best Card Game, and it was also one of the 2015 Golden Elephant finalists. It's supposed to be a really good game.
Well, I have taken the same stance on this as Zach did in the previous one, and that I've asked Kickstarter to remind me 48 hours before the end.
I actually, for the first time in a long time, have roughly $60 of extra spending cash, so I think I'm just going to back it.
It'd have been great if you just ended it. You're like, for the first time, well, I have $60.
End of sentence.
End of sentence.
No, it's been a long time since I backed a Kickstarter, and so I think this might be the one to get me back on the Kickstarter train.
Perhaps I will unfollow it.
No, it's.
I don't think that you're going to.
Yeah.
You're still going to keep that 48 because
Hey, you're right.
you're gonna want to get
Paul,
out.
this is the only way to get this game. I feel that means that you're probably going to get it.
I mean, that is so annoying. I don't know. I have mixed feelings.
I mean, you could just wait and then buy it for way overpriced amount, like
and
you
they
like
say
to
it won't
do.
have a traditional retail
never
release.
do that.
To be fair, that does not mean that retail outlets who have a Kickstarter account couldn't back
Yes.
for a bunch of copies.
That's also
Sure.
true.
And
It-
then
yes.
secondary, and then there's always a secondary market. So it just won't have it's not going full retail.
It's not
I
coming.
will-
It's not coming to Target.
I will
Correct.
watch a couple playthroughs, investigate,
There you go.
There you go.
and see if I actually want back.
So
Not coming to Target.
another fun little plug before we move on from this one that I just saw here at the bottom, and I didn't know this, but Travis Hill did the board game editing. He is one of the hosts over on Low Player Count, which is another podcast in the Punchboard Media thing. And Travis is super awesome. I met him at HeavyCon 2 years ago. He's a really genuinely nice guy and does a lot of rules editing stuff that I think he's actually really good at. And so I'm glad to see that he's attached to this as well.
I'm always glad to see experienced people editing rulebooks.
Yes, like having an actual paid rulebook editor is a huge plus for me for a game.
Absolutely.
So next up.
Last up is Colonialism, a game of 19th century imperialism.
Speaking about fucked up colonialism.
Yeah.
Colonialism.
Correct.
Just funded $7,600 of its $5,500 goal, 92 backers, and about 2 weeks left to go. And you can pledge this one for $79.
Yeah, so I had previously talked a little bit about Colonialism because I had went and played it on a live stream up with Heavy Cardboard. It is a dark and somber theme, and the game takes that very seriously. The art style for the cards and for the game board and everything, like the cover of the box is a shackle and like a ball and chain shackle. Like it does not even remotely shy away from the fact that this is a game about oppressing the shit out of basically everything that isn't Europe. It plays really good and really smooth, and I actually really like the gameplay. It was interesting. I highly recommend, maybe checking out the last 20 minutes or so of the Heavy Cardboard stream, because we did kind of a roundtable discussion about it, and we talked about how it's an interesting game, and like the whole stream was weird. It was one of the most somber streams I've ever been on at Heavy Cardboard, because like it's such a dark theme, and the game makes you feel that. Like you're wanting to win, but the way you're winning is by doing really shitty things, and it doesn't shy away from that at all. Like, that is the history of the world. Like European imperialism caused untold strife and pain and anguish for a good chunk of the planet. And this game takes that and puts it front and center.
Art is very brutal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, like I said, the entire game doesn't let you feel good about what you're doing at any point. You're playing these cards to try and like get advantage, but it's like, I don't want to play this card, like, because that's not nice. I really did like the gameplay. I think it's a really good game. I like it a lot. I did do an interview with Uli Blenneman from Spielworks, who also works for Compass Games, who is releasing it. I will be releasing that interview. We were waiting for this to drop, and then he didn't tell me that it came out and right away. So the timing's a little off, but this Thursday, so after you listen to this on Wednesday, when this episode releases Thursday, there will be a short 15-minute interview with Uli Blenneman about colonialism that we will release. That's basically me talking to him, and like one of the questions I asked him was, isn't this an interesting time in like culture and politics to re-release a game this dark and with this particular theme? And he, went on and had I thought a really great answer. I'm not going to try and summarize it because I'll botch it.
And spoilers.
And spoilers. You need to listen to the interview. But
Do you feel the game? I feel like seen some people feel that the $79 was a bit much for it. Do you feel that, or
That's what I was thinking.
do you feel that it like your thing with Splatter of like you're paying for the game?
no.
Okay.
So, and I was just actually coming to this.
Okay.
This Kickstarter, I think, is a great example of how to terribly run a Kickstarter for a great game. The Kickstarter page itself is nothing special. It's not drawing in anyone.
Yeah.
The price point I do think is too high at $80 for this game. I don't think it's quite an $80 game, especially because the components and stuff just aren't there.
Okay.
I know part of it is just their style of doing games are low number, higher cost, which is something that like Splotter does,
Mhm.
but I don't think this is as good as any Splotters that I've played. Like I really like Colonialism. I wouldn't put it above a Food Chain or an Indonesia or a Zimbabwe in any way. And I don't think I know you guys love to shit on Splotter for their component quality, but you at least get a shit ton of components. Like those boxes are hard to close. Like you're getting a full box of stuff. This isn't a full box of stuff.
Okay.
Well,
all
to be
right.
fair, the only reason Indonesia is a full box is because the components are 4 times as large as they should be. So,
Well, that's why Indonesia won't fit. Like, you cannot make there was a post on the Facebook group the other day, Facebook board game group I'm in, that was somebody with Indonesia and the box open and like it piled up in the middle, like everything in there. And they're like, how do you get Splotters to fit back in the box?
you throw away their game pieces and buy the upgraded versions.
Completely replace the game with
Yeah.
other components.
Yeah. You're paying for the rule book.
Wait,
Right, and the cards.
yeah.
Cards are fine.
Uh-huh.
No, and I do think the Indonesia, it's unfortunate that they didn't catch that in some kind of a QC run. But had the components came out the way they were supposed to be, it would have been a great components. They would have
Sure.
been awesome wooden components. So
I agree.
I don't think this one though quite 80 is a bit much.
Okay.
I think this would have been better. Like even a 60 would have been significantly better price point for this
Okay.
game, especially because I think it's 80 plus shipping. I don't think shipping's
Yes.
included, and so it's gonna cost you quite a bit to get this. And I was reading on the Heavy Cardboard Slack, and there were people who were talking about like this is a game you can find in like bargain bins, the first edition in like bargain bins in Europe.
yeah,
Like
That's not
they
surprising.
didn't make a lot of them, so they're hard to find.
sure.
But where you do find them, they're not usually pricey.
I mean, it goes back
So-
to, Concordia at $45 or this game for $79 plus shipping. Like, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. I mean, they're very different games, but
Sure.
also like, and this is a good game, but it's not a game that's going to make you feel good playing it. They do not shy away from that theme. Like they really rub it in your face that
That's a positive, I think.
I think it is. I really applaud them for doing that. And really listen to it's a 15-minute interview with Uli. And he really addresses a lot of that. And I think they have some really good ideas behind making this game and putting it out when they're putting it out and embracing the theme. But I do think that price point is high.
Some of my
So-
favorite games just dive right into the theme, and it's not a theme that you feel good about. mean-
This war of mine.
Absolutely. Twilight Struggle,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and Black Orchestra. Nothing says, ooh, what I just do, like cheering a card that says the Jews are getting, whatever.
Rounded up.
Yeah, rounded up.
Crystal
sorry.
knocked.
Yeah.
Because
Because we cheered it because we got extra actions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
because it incentivizes you as the people trying to kill Hitler. Like, oh shit, this is speeding up. We
Right,
gotta
exactly.
work harder.
we
It's
really
just
wanna-
rounding you up.
We really want to kill him now.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
That's the
no, but
white girl version of
Yeah.
killing Hitler.
Yeah. Like,
But-
oh my god.
But that's a good point. Like Twilight Struggle is a game that, like I've always said, is one of those I love playing it because
Oh,
a big
yeah.
part of it is you're playing those cards where you're, or you're doing like Bush War, and you have in some third
Brush.
world country Brush
Brush War.
War. Sorry, it is Brush War. Sorry, I just think Bush Wars because
Because, yep,
all the Bush Wars.
we're still in.
Brush War, and you're doing coups and overthrowing third world countries, like,
Yeah.
and that happened. Like,
Well,
that's,
plus, I mean, all the cards are events in history.
that actually
that
happened.
happened, yeah.
It's not
Yeah. And,
speculating.
I am not one for art or lore or whatever, but that's one of the few whatever books that like additional books that was included in a game that I read through was describing all of those cards.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, and I agree with Uli that there is space. I think, especially as board game continues to grow, there is space for games to take on heavy, meaningful themes like
Oh,
this and
100%.
address
Absolutely.
terrible things that happened and address them hopefully in
Uh-huh.
a tactful and somber way,
Yep.
not glossing over it and making it some lighthearted shipping in the Mediterranean,
Well,
colonialism
Yeah.
game.
Like the Underground Railroad game.
Yeah.
And there's a Japan one. It's like about some bombings that happen in Tokyo or one of their cities. That it's that same sort of thing.
Just as
So-
long as they don't cost $79 plus
Well,
shipping.
or if
Yeah.
they do, there's the components and
There's a reason-
gameplay
a
and
reason
things
for
to
it.
to
Mhm.
match it. Yeah. So this one's a tough one, but yeah, there it is. Colonialism. Go check it out if that sounds interesting to you, and maybe it's worth $80. It's worth $80 to almost 100 people right now, which is enough to get it funded. So I'm happy for them that it's getting made. It's going to be out there.
Absolutely.
So-
If this is what they wanted, then
And there's no stretch goals or anything, so this
No,
is going to be
it's-
the game.
This is the
that you
game.
get.
There's one pledge tier. Like, that's it.
The other pledge tier is to get 2 copies of the game. And the heavy cardboard playthrough is linked on the Kickstarter as well.
Correct. Which was a lot of fun in a somber kind of way. So, but that wraps up news and Kickstarters.
Yes.
Be done. Moves us on into the listener feedback portion of the show. Jeff, I believe you have an email.
I do. Emails at milehighgameguys.com if you would like to send us an email. This first email is from Brandon, entitled, "Am I a monster?"
Yes. I don't know what the question is in reference to, but I'm just going to assume yes.
Second email.
Hello, gentlemen. I fell behind on the podcast a bit, so I'm getting caught up on the few episodes I missed. I'm currently on your Gen Con preview episode where you guys mentioned a game called Holding On, The Troubled Life of Billy Kerr. I don't remember talking about that.
I
but-
talked about it.
Okay. My ex-father-in-law's name was William Kerr, and often went by Billy. Plain and simple, Billy Kerr is a fucking asshole. Even when things were good between my ex and me, I hated him. So I posed the question, if I get this game, let him suffer and make sure he dies every single time I play, am I a monster? I would pay $60 to $100 just to trap him in a Prometheus-style loop where I can make him suffer endlessly. I'm clearly a chipper ball of fucking sunshine when it comes to him. Is that the one where he would get his liver eaten out by an eagle every day?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it'd regrow.
Yes.
And
And
then
then he would get his liver
Eagle
eaten.
was like,
All-
"Ooh, yay, liver again."
And that was all his punishment for bringing fire to humans.
to man.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyways, keep up the most work. Brandon. P.S. To anyone who complains that your episodes are too long and that you go off on too many rants, fuck them. I listen to most podcasts for the ridiculous banter, but for actual board games, I listen to the most
Maybe
podcasts
it's like,
for...
but also for.
Yeah, but also for actual board
Wow.
games.
I mean, I thought it was not for. I listened to them for ridiculous banter, not for actual board games.
We may never know.
Yeah.
Now he's the true monster. I'd listen to a completely unstructured multiple times a week podcast of you three bullshitting.
I'll just listen to our early episodes then.
Right? Christ. Oh, the audio content is so bad.
Yeah.
I'm glad we've reached a point with our like backlog that like some podcast things just don't give our first 30 episodes.
Yeah.
It's just like, you don't need that.
No.
Nobody needs that.
That's it for emails.
That is indeed it for emails.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com if you would like to send an email.
Indeed. Zach, I believe there are also some BGG follow-ups on a couple different posts.
That is correct. The first one is from the Roland Rights. It's from Mark. Did you and Draft Mechanic coordinate your Friday/Monday roll and write a palooza? Cheers, Mark. I believe we mentioned that it just happened to be.
Yes.
Yeah,
happenstance.
and they did like 8 of them or something.
They did.
Yeah.
And so many. But you should go listen to it because Draft Mechanic is awesome. Drake and Danielle are good friends of the show. But no, we did not coordinate that. That was, as Bob Ross puts it, a happy little accident.
Yes. All right. The next one is for our Founders of Gloomhaven review. This is from Jeff, but not this Jeff.
Different Jeff.
Different Jeff.
So
This
confusing.
is Jeff C.
Jeff C.
It's a third Jeff.
I can only assume a Canadian Jeff.
Too many Jeffs.
Is it the Canada flag or the C that you're talking about?
Canada flag.
Okay.
The Canada flag that when you hover it says Calgary.
That C could mean any number of things. All right. So this is from Jeff Calgary. Great review, guys. I was a backer, and then after trying it twice solo on Tabletop Simulator during the campaign, I dropped out. It was an enjoyable, head-scratching puzzle that had an interesting balance between tactics and strategy, but after thinking about it, I just didn't know if I'd get it out with any of the groups that I play with. As it so happens, one of my group mates backed it and just got it a few weeks ago, so we'll see if he wants to break it out, and then we'll take a stab at it at 4 players whenever that happens. But after all that discussion, I'm much more interested in Concordia, as the hand management in Founders is what I found most compelling anyway. Thanks for the recommendation.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Concordia. It's real good.
It's like the 5th mention, I think, Concordia.
And not even in an episode about Founders.
It's because it's real good.
Founders is growing on me.
Yeah.
But
That's it for BGG.
If you want to get a hold of us, you can always do so in a variety of ways. You can send us emails.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
You can find us over on Board Game Geek, where we have a guild, number 2731, where Zach does his weekly episode posts, and you can leave feedback over there either before or after the episodes, whatever you prefer. You can find us on Twitter. I tweet under @MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
And I am Jeff_MHGG.
Paul, do you care to share a Twitter for people to come berate bullshit Paul?
No, I'm not on the social medias.
Very well.
He's on our Slack, though.
He is on the Slack channel.
Oh, yeah, you can come berate me on Slack.
Yes.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Which there is a link in the show notes over on milehighgameguys.com to the Slack channel. Come join the Slack channel. There's a bunch of people. I will regularly be working and come back to my phone 4 hours later and there's 120 new messages in one of the 4 channels.
Yeah, so
oh god.
So sometimes they'll get flooded. The best way to berate Paul, though, is to do it on the Patreon chat, because that way he'll make sure that he'll see it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Am I still a backer? What's going on here?
Yes. Yeah, and speaking of Patreon, we do have one. Mile High Game Guy, or patreon.com/milehighgameguys, where you can throw money at us if you feel that all of the audio that we put out of dubious quality is worth some amount of money. And yeah, Facebook and Instagram /milehighgameguys. Plenty of ways to get in touch with us, either to tell us how right we are, how wrong we are, how much you like us, how much you don't like us, whatever the case may be. We thrive on listener feedback. It's what keeps us going. As always, huge thanks to our sponsors, Gray Fox Games. Their game, Pocket Mars, is available now if you are in need of a very quick little game about sending astronauts from Earth to a space station and then to Mars, or sometimes directly to Mars.
Or a spaceship, because that's actually what moves between Earth and
spaceship.
Mars.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Stations are stationary, so they're not,
I don't think there's a single space station in existence that is stationary.
Well, it's stationary with the Earth's orbit.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Even then,
You don't know.
yeah.
I don't think any of the... I would be willing to bet there is not a stationary, even in regards to Earth orbit, space station.
You weren't in the Space Force, Adrian.
Yeah.
Now,
You were in the Navy.
Now, if satellites...
That is the opposite way.
Yeah.
That's going down instead of up.
There are 100% geosynchronous satellites, but no space stations that are geosynchronous,
I don't believe
which
it.
is
Yeah.
the term for stationary with regard to the Earth's orbit.
I don't remember what I said, but I was probably right.
But Pocket Mars is available now. It's a fun little 15-minute-ish game. I think that's about how long it's normally taken you guys when you've played it, right, guys?
Yes.
Yeah, after a learning game.
After learning it.
Yeah. But yeah, you'll have a hand of 4 cards that you will, 2 of which will prep in front of you, 2 of which will be in your hand. You will use these cards of different colors to put on different habitation modules with various powers and rooms. The more you move your astronauts from room A to room B, which is like the control center versus general living area, various endgame things of having 1 in each or 3 in 1 to get you more points. You're trying to play cards sequentially in number on these different colored habitation modules. There is some interactivity there where you can use prep modules from someone else to try and screw them up, but you are kind of playing it blind, but also giving them a little bit of an advantage. And then the game will go until you take all of your astronauts from Earth, and then end them all. The first person that gets them all onto Mars will then end the game. You score points, and then you see who wins.
Indeed. That's Pocket Mars.
Yeah.
Go check
Quick-
it out.
simple-
GrayFoxGames.com.
Quick, simple little fun game.
Jeff, do you have a prepared statement for us?
Gray Fox Games, quality games, cleverly crafted. I don't have to write that down anymore because I finally know that.
That also took him a while.
Yes. Also, good. Now we can fight as warriors, hand to hand. It is the basis of all combat. Only a fool trusts his life to a weapon.
Clearly the motto of
Gray
all U.S. Special Forces.
And Gray Fox. Different Gray Fox.
Yes.
Was that an actual Gray Fox quote?
That was an actual Gray Fox quote.
Because I know you like to mix in a lot of other random
That's true.
Metal Gear
But sometimes I find a good one. There's only so many lines.
Yep.
And a lot of them are good.
He only spoke for so many times before.
things happen.
Yeah.
Yes, thing happened.
I don't actually know, but I'm just assuming from context that he
There's
died.
sort of a finite endpoint.
Metal Gear.
Spoilers.
Anyway, yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. Be sure to catch our episodes on Thursday and Friday. And thanks for listening. As always, I have been your host, Adrian.
I am still Zach.
And I'm burned out Jeff.
These
And-
pretzels are making me thirsty.
Thanks for joining us, Paul.
Yes, thank you.
Bye.
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 Yeah, it was pretty much mostly intro story, a little bit of character development.
Nope. Why is that on? Okay, sorry.
Awesome.
Continue.
Jeff, cut that.
It was.
I'm the one that cuts that.
Zach, cut that.
Okay,
Jeff Mark for Zach to cut
there
that.
you go.
Jeff, mark for that. Okay.
Got it.
Punchboard Media, where we all
Bring something
to the table
pull up a chair
at punchboardmedia.com.